Hi, this is Kersee and I'm going to share my final project with you. The project I designed for my students is kind of a big review project, and it's designed to prepare my students for their big final they have coming up at the end of the semester. I'm at a high school, I'm a Spanish teacher, and so we have a final coming up here in about a week, so this works out great. For this project, there's three main tasks that the students or groups will have to complete. Students for this specific project, in this case, students will be in groups of two. They'll just be paired up. I have a small class that I'm using this for. I'm going to, I guess I'll skip down. The audience for this is my third year Spanish students. There's only about 12 of them in there. And the main part, or not the main part, but one of the major pieces of this, one of the pieces is a visual presentation. And students are going to create a visual presentation to explain an assigned grammar concept. As you can imagine, throughout a course or a Spanish course, students are seeing all sorts of different grammar concepts, different verb tenses, that sort of thing. So as a way to kind of review, I'm having them create a visual presentation. I'm suggesting that they use one of these three apps, similar to the ones we've been playing around with, to create that grammar tutorial or explanation. If not, though, they can suggest another one. If they say, Mr. Lin, we found this other great site and we want to use that, I'm definitely open to that, and that would be great. They're also going to create, the second piece of this is they're going to create some sort of practice material that they can give their other classmates. A huge piece of this project is so that students can create these resources, and while they're creating them, they're reviewing and engaging in the content, but also so that their classmates can use those same resources that they're creating. So students are going to create some sort of practice to share with the rest of the class. And that can be a digital or hard copy. In my class, we've used Google Forms for assignments and quizzes, and so they're familiar with that, and students have asked if they can play around with that, so that's going to be an option too, that they could even do a Google Forms. Then the third piece is each group will create a couple of slides, essentially with the essential information for their grammar concept. And what we've done is I've created a Google Slides on Google Classroom, which is where all of this information will be shared. And students will post their 2 slides for their assigned grammar concept, or some groups will be assigned more than one. And they can post that there. So we'll have this PowerPoint or slides presentation at the end of this project that all of the students can use as a resource that has all of our essential information for the test. And like I said, my audiences are third year Spanish students. Back to our first objective, students will create a variety of resources to help themselves and other classmates prepare for the semester final exam. One thing I do want to touch on is I'm encouraging students to sign up for a grammar concept. We've got, I think, about 12. A grammar concept that they've struggled with in the past, or that they feel like they need to review a lot. And I'm doing that, and I've done this in the past, so that they're having to really be engaged in that specific concept, whether that's a simple past tense, the preterite, and they struggle with that. So then they're getting to the point where they're going from where they're struggling with that concept to where they feel like they can teach it, and that's neat to see. One of my other objectives here is kind of promoting creativity. My hope is that students will be able to, especially with that visual presentation using the Powtoons or one of those sites, that they'll really be able to communicate the information they need to communicate in terms of that grammar piece or that concept, but do it in a way that makes sense to them, and they can really take ownership and feel creative that way. That's one of my goals. That's one of our objectives. Another objective is kind of just student collaboration within the groups. It's really valuable for students to work in groups and just navigating that process of sharing the workload and working together and discussing, and that's really valuable. And so this project lends itself to that, letting students collaborate and practicing that skill of being a good group member and working in a group. Objectives will be met in these ways. Students will meet the first objective, which is creating those. I want these students to create these resources, these valuable resources that they can use to prepare themselves for their final. And that first objective, that will be met, or I want them to prepare themselves for their final, and that's going to be done through creating those through the in-class time, and when they're preparing those slides and presentation where they're just interacting with their assigned concept, and then at the end where they are able to study and look over and use the slides and presentations that other groups have created. In terms of creativity, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of their that some of these activities or learning tasks are really going to cater to the strengths of some of these students who are really creative. So really looking forward to that, and just them being engaged in some of these different forms of multimedias. That'll be neat to see. And then third objective, just working in that collaboration piece, and just by completing this project and that process, students are going to touch on that. I'm going to show you now. This is Google Classroom. This is in my class. This is what we use to share documents, and for me it's really convenient because I can assign things. I can just create announcements. So I'm on the page for this is my third year class here, and I've posted 3 important documents for them on this on our stream here. One thing I do want to point out: Google Classroom isn't something that's free. My district, they adopted. All of my students have Gmail accounts. We're, I guess, a Google school, and we're kind of getting trained in that realm. So Google Classroom isn't a free resource to my knowledge anyways. If I didn't have this resource, I would, our students all have Gmail accounts, so I would try and set something up through the Google Plus, and similar to the interface that we're using in our class right now. But this is I do have access to this, so this is a great and really clean and organized way for me to get information and get feedback, get information to kids and get feedback from them. So right here I posted just their outline, sort of the rubric and expectations here. I can show you that document. This is what they'll have, similar information to what we've been talking about already. You've got the rubric, what I'm grading them on. Don't want any mysteries in terms of expectations. So this will be something, they'll have a hard copy of this and we'll go over this. But it's good to have a digital copy too. And that's another thing I like about Classroom, the ability for me to, I don't have to make a lot of extra copies because I can give them a copy and then they have a digital copy too that they can reference or print out another copy on their own time. Then here we've got, I mentioned that one of the pieces is that they'll each have to do create 2 slides that they'll add to our shared PowerPoint or Google Slides document here. And this is something where they can edit this document. So on my part, there does need to be some sort of, I got to keep an eye because high schoolers, in terms of them tampering or messing with other slides, other group slides, that can be an issue. Not really worried about it with this group of kids that I've got, but so they'll all edit that. They'll share their slides here in this PowerPoint or slides document, and then this will be a great resource for those students that they'll have literally every grammar concept that we've covered this first semester that they can reference. Then here I put, and this is the same one I did for our assignment in this class, an example of ser and estar, which are just two verbs in Spanish, two to be verbs. And this was an example grammar tutorial that I did, and I would be looking for them to do something similar to that. And so they've got that link that they can reference here. As I kind of was reflecting on this, the whole process of this project, still haven't given this project yet. I'm going to do that here in about a week, and we'll see. I'm really looking forward to kind of the end product. Looking forward to the students and letting them be creative, and looking forward to those kind of visual presentations that they're going to put together using some of those sites. And what else? Also, kind of as I was reflecting, kind of one of the challenges might be if I have a group who is slacking, a group where it looks like they're not going to either turn in quality work or not, meet the expectations of what they need to do there. I'm going to have to keep up on that so that I can create some sort of resource so that if they're not submitting their slides or they don't have a presentation or quality was just kind of slapped together, then I'm going to need to create some sort of additional resource that so that the rest of the class can use that as a resource. Now in the future, along those lines, I want to hold on to some of these presentations that the students do for a couple reasons. One, it's a great resource for me to be able to show future classes of, hey, this is the expectation, this is what we're looking for, and here's some examples. Also, so that I can share those presentations throughout the year as we're introducing a new concept. I can use one of those student presentations too and sort of preface that with, hey, you guys are going to be creating presentations like this too. So that's my presentation, and thank you for listening.